Hey, what's going on? What's going on, peoples? What's up? Good morning to you, Champ Ron. Listen, we want to get into 3 reasons why you should be investing in land here on a Monday morning as we roll in. Definitely share this with your network because I want to share some good information this morning about investing in land. But before I get into that, let me just share who I am. Ron Brooks, aka Champ Ron. I'm here in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm actually rolling downtown because I've got a meeting in about 45 minutes or so with my staff. And so heading down there for that. I'm on the eastern part of town. So I've got about a 25-minute or so drive. So I figured I'd spend it with you all and share with you 3 reasons why you should be investing in land right now. 3 areas where I add value in who I am. After an 18 and a half year career in banking. Hey, Boogie, good morning. Good morning. After 18 and a half year banking career. And a lot of this things that I do now, I started in the midst of that career. I started in banking after playing a year of college basketball. Started in management trainee and was fortunate and blessed to be able to work my way through banking up to the executive level. My last role in banking, I was the executive over the retail banking area, which included the branches and a 20-seat call center. So about 96 employees. In the midst of all of that, I started what I'm doing today, which are 3 prime areas. One, I am the president and CEO of River City Capital Investment LLC. We are based here in Memphis. We've existed altogether since 2010, but we became certified by the Department of Treasury in 2016. We're a CDFI, which is a Community Development Financial Institution. CDFI, Community Development Financial Institution. We exist here in Memphis with a mission of providing low-cost loan capital to Black, indigenous, and women business owners here in Shelby County. Not all over the world, not all over the country, right here in Memphis, Shelby County. And so I get the chance and I get the privilege and the honor of leading this great dynamic team around our mission on a daily basis. We partner with Black, indigenous, and women firms as much as possible, including our loans origination software, which is powered by a company called Loanwell. Shout out to them. They do a tremendous job, and we've seen a huge boost in the applications that come in, the amounts requested, and we've got capital to deploy. Okay, we've got capital that we need to deploy, quite frankly. And so, what's up, 3 friends? So that's what that's about. And so, if you happen to be in the Memphis area or you're looking to start up business in the Memphis area, I'd love for you to do nothing other than reach out to us at River City Capital. That's rivercitycapital.org. I'm also a real estate investor, as we're going to talk about today with the 3 reasons why you should be investing in land. I've been a real estate investor since 2007. And I started investing the same year my wife and I got married. I was 26 years old. I'd already bought my house. That's the house that we started out in here in Memphis. I bought that house a few years before, but I bought my first investment property in 2007 in the Raleigh area of Memphis, for those that are familiar with the area. So that's on the northern side of town. And got introduced to it by a buddy of mine that we played basketball, AAU basketball with, and just fell in love with it from there. And I started as a buy and hold investor, as a landlord during that time. I would buy property, I would fix it up, and then I would rent it out to a qualified individual or family. And I got involved in wholesaling real estate shortly after that, after I learned how to wholesale real estate, which is essentially getting a property under contract with a motivated seller that's experiencing some sort of distress, usually related to the property, and then assigning that contract for a spread to another cash buyer. All right, so that's wholesaling real estate. I also wholesale real estate, which you don't hear a whole lot about. Wholesaling real estate is essentially taking a property, a very distressed property that a cash buyer won't buy today because it's too distressed. It's got too many issues. Taking that property, buying it at a very inexpensive price, spending a little bit of money fixing it up, not doing a full rehab, but fixing it up just enough to make it attractive to a cash buyer, and then selling it to that cash buyer for that spread. So I do that as well. And then last, of course, my big thing that I do, I started doing in 2017, and I'm really getting heavier into it, is land. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's subject. Elena says she grew up in Raleigh. Dig that. Yeah, Raleigh's super dope. I grew up in the Mound, so when we came to Raleigh, it usually was a little bit different thing. But it's all good, man. Much respect out to the Raleigh area for sure. Had a lot of fun with the peeps over at Raleigh, Egypt, and Craigmont and whatnot. But so that's what I do from a real estate standpoint. I'm also a mentor coach. So I have a mentorship program, Property Champs, that you can check out, propertychampinvestor.com, or the link in my bio, whichever one, champ10k.com. You can find it there. And there I teach you those principles of wholesaling and wholetailing, on how you can create cash flow, right? Because that's the big thing, is how do you create cash flow for yourself and your family? You know, in these times, as prices are being manipulated and going up and things like that, you got geopolitical issues. It seems like we're a little bit more on the heels of the pandemic with COVID, but you never know how that's going to pop back up and maybe rear its ugly head. So the biggest thing right now that you should focus on is keeping your debt manageable or low, right? Not taking on too much debt, but being strategic with the debt that you take on. If you do take on debt, it should lead to some sort of revenue, whether it's buying a property, whether it's buying a business, starting a business, whatever that is. It should lead to some type of revenue producer. You know, if your money's only just leading to liabilities, right? Clothes and jewelry and stuff you can't turn around and really sell, right? It doesn't really produce for you, then you got to really consider. Nothing wrong with it. You just got to consider how much of that you make as an investment. And I know that's going to lead into when I talk about land here in a second. All right. Third thing is I'm a podcaster. So I am the host and curator of the Minding Your Business podcast. I've been doing that since 2017 as well. And I love talking to folks just like you to share your story, talk about the intersection of business and lifestyle. And I've got a nice audience there, the MYB community that I call my audience for the podcast. And so I've recorded over 300 episodes, about 286 chronologically. And then I've got some special editions I've done over the years. But definitely check that out wherever you get your pods or at champ10k.com. Okay? Looks like we've got a guest. Hang tight, guest. Topics, hang tight, brother. Let me get into the topic a little bit, then I want to bring you up because I've got him on the wisdom app. Definitely a great brother. But so 3 reasons you should be investing in land. Okay, let me get to that. Number 1, well, let me tell you kind of how I got into land, because I always like to speak to the credibility of things before I start talking about it. I bought a piece of land here in Memphis, and you're probably not going to believe me when I tell you, and that's fine. But the truth of the matter is this. I bought a piece of land in Memphis in 2017. It's 2017? Yeah, 2017. From the Shelby County Land Bank here in Memphis. I bought that land for $50. It was a corner lot on Chelsea Avenue in North Memphis part of town. It was a lot, used to have a house on it, had been vacated, just a grass lot that you normally have kind of like a shotgun house on. It was next to a church and a sweet lady on the other side that was just sweet as pie. And then, houses and neighborhood behind it. But it was on a main thoroughfare, Chelsea Avenue here in Memphis, which that was part of my investment strategy when I looked at it was, and I still do this today, like I love parking lots and I like property that's on like a main street thoroughfare. If it's a vacant lot, things like that. What we call improved land. So I bought this lot. Matter of fact, the fee was more than the actual cost of the land at that time. Um, the fee, I think, was like $200 that you had to put. So I had to write a check for like $250. And of course, it goes through the process. They have to contact the owner, that sort of thing. So it's not an immediate, it's not like going to Target and swiping something on the checkout scanner, right? You put in your application, you put down your money. This was $50 plus the $200 fee to process it, and and then you hurry up and wait. And so I had to wait a few weeks. They had to publish it, I think, in the newspaper, all that type of thing. So once nobody came, the owner never came to claim the property. I was awarded the property for that amount, the $50 plus the $200 fee to the county. So now I own this land. I didn't really have a strategy for it. I just saw that, hell, for $50 to own some land. I've been buying these properties and stuff like that, but I never, bought land, and I certainly didn't think I could buy it that cheap, but I did. All right, what's up? So I bought it extremely cheap, $50, right? If you went to Starbucks for a week, it'd be $50 if you went every day, right? So that's what I did, and because of that, I own this property now. So what I did was, all I really had to do with it was cut the grass, really. And that was good exercise. So I started out, I go over there, I take my lawnmower, I cut the grass. It gave me an excuse to go over to that part of town, gave me an excuse to look at other property. And then, of course, eventually I hired someone to cut the grass for me. But I started out just taking my lawnmower and edger over there and blower and just going to work on that little lot. It took me, barely 30 minutes to cut it, right? It was in no kind of time. But it was super dope. But I owned land. I controlled land right there in that area, right? I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I didn't have a strategy. So the number one reason, or not the number one reason, but a big reason why you should be investing in land is, one, and compare this to when I started buying property, I spent way more money, right? My first investment property I bought for $90,000, and then I spent $15,000 rehabbing it. And I did all that to get roughly about $1,000 in gross rent. Again, this is back in 2007. Okay. So with land, the reason you should buy land is because land doesn't have any of the issues that property does. Think about this. No termites, no roofs, no busted pipes, no windows, doors, no rehab. Like I told you, my first property was $15,000 in rehab. That's back in 2008. If I had to rehab that same property in the condition it was in today, it would be more than double that amount. It'd probably be $40,000 to do that same rehab that I did in 2008, right? Just with inflation and this current environment. So think about not only the risk that I'm taking, but the debt that I have that I'll pick up, which is good debt, right? Because it's leading to what? Income. But think about, I could buy for that same amount of money that I rehabbed that property back in 2008, or 2007. I could buy a gang of land. You know what I mean? So the thing is you don't have the issues with land, and because of that, most investors are focused on property, right? That's just because that's what they know. That's how they got introduced to the game, just like me. Most are focused on property, which is a good thing for me, for land investors, right? Because the competition is low. Okay, so many people right now, because prices going up and kind of somewhat of not so much that there's a shortage of housing, but there is not enough kind of quality housing in America. It's not that there's a shortage of units. Don't believe that hype. There's enough units. They're just not all in the location or in the condition that people want, right? People want to kind of clamor where, think about what motivates where people live, right? Schools, availability to restaurants, shops, things like that. And there are a lot of areas in America that are kind of void of that, or they're more food deserts, that sort of thing. So there's only so many of the prime areas where people want to be. Reduction in crime, that sort of thing. So that's not the thing. But land, think about all those properties that you're talking about, all sitting on what land? You can have land without the property, but try having the property without the land, right? The value's in the land, the location, right? So that's number one, is that you don't have it. So if you're starting out in investing, you don't have the level of issues and concerns that you have to deal with, or the risk of damage to the property, having to do rehabs, that sort of thing, and the ongoing maintenance. Like I told you, with that lot, the only thing I had to do was cut the grass, pay the taxes. The taxes on it, now we've got dual government here, county and city. Combined, my taxes were like $65 a year, okay? Compared to my properties, where my taxes might have been $3,000 a year, right? So think about that. So that's number one, is you don't have to deal with the issues. Number two, people who own land that are looking to sell it tend to be highly motivated, and here's why. And I'm going to put my banker hat on for a quick minute for y'all. I'll tell you that any bank that I ever worked for had very little appetite for doing loans on just land, whether approved or raw, right? Very little. So it's not as easy to get financing like it is for a property. Because the bank, they want what they believe to be cash flow. They don't understand how to create cash flow out of land. Just like most investors don't understand how to create cash flow from land. Okay? So, because there's not the access to kind of ready financing, or really attractive financing, because institutions and lenders that will lend on land, it tends to be like a low value. They tend to have really strict terms, things like that. So what that means is, one, again, you don't have the competition. Two, a land seller tends to be highly motivated because there's not the competition, and a bunch of people calling and clamoring like there is for property. Like right now, I get a call probably 2 or 3 times a day, and maybe 2 or 3 texts about someone wanting to buy my property, either a wholesaler that wants to wholesale it, or a cash investor that wants to buy it. I probably get that 2 or 3 times a day for my primary residence and for my investment properties, right? But I get very few calls for my land. Very few. I might get 2 or 3 a year for any land that I own. But properties, I get 2 or 3 a day. Okay? So the owner of the property of land also tends to be open more to creative financing, or the seller financing, which I'm going to show when I get here to the end and talk about how you can learn more about that. Okay? So that's number 2. That's the second reason why you should be investing in land. The third reason, and of course there's many more, but the third main reason is you could create cash flow from land. Very simply. Because think about it, the cost of owning it is very low. What did I tell you earlier? You had to cut the grass and pay the taxes, basically. That was it. I didn't have to worry about anybody tearing up anything. What are you going to do? Come kick the dirt? Go ahead. Then you could do, right? So the third reason is you could create that cash flow from it. What if I told y'all that you could be creating right now, you could get a piece of land for, say, a few $100s. Maybe not even that. Maybe you can seller finance it with no money and no credit. You're not running your credit. You're dealing directly with the owner of the property. And let's just say you were to offer that owner X amount per month to get that property. And then let's just say someone comes along, like Ron, that says, hey, I'll buy that from you. I'll pay you. So you get the property for $150 a month. The land, right? Remember, it's not a structure on it. You're getting the land. Let's just say you get the land for $150 a month, and I come along and I need the land. I want to be able to use it for whatever purpose I have. And again, we talk about that in the training. But I want to get it for $400 a month from you. So now you've got a spread between 150 to 400, right? That's $250 spread per month. You're making $250 per month. And you don't have to do very much to the land at all. It's not like, when you have a property, right? When you have a property, let's just say you charge $1,000 in rent, your mortgage is $450, your insurance is, another $150 a month. Then if you're paying property management, they're charging you anywhere from 8 to 10, 11% per month of the rent. So you're going to end up making, your spread's going to end up being, say, $200 a month maybe by the time you get done with all that. But also you're dealing with tenants. And anytime you're dealing with human beings are the biggest wild card in the world. They're good one moment, next moment, maybe they're not, right? It's all good till it's not sometimes with a lot of people. So you're not dealing with any of that with land, okay? So those are kind of the top three reasons. One, you don't have the issues, right? Two, there's not the competition, right, for you as an investor. And three, you can create cash flow. Most people think of land as just sitting there and you can only either, just sell it outright, right? But there's way more options for land that most people understand or know or realize. That you could create cash flow, or you can sell it outright. That lot that I told you about earlier, on Chelsea Avenue here in Memphis, I sold that to a local brother, great brother here in Memphis. Remember, I bought it for $50. I sold it in 2019. All right, 2 years later, I sold it for $2,500. Now, that may not seem like a big thing, but for a $50 investment 2 years later, to sell it for $2,500 for something I have to do nothing but cut the grass on for my lawnmower every other week, during the summer, really, from April to, say, September. Not bad for that one piece of property, right? So that's what we're talking about here, okay? It's not what's being taught. It's not what you're going to find all over YouTube, right? What industry is going to have as much demand as land, right? And there's no way to make it. They haven't figured out a way to make it anymore. So it's a finite commodity that's always in demand. And the key to land investing is being in the pathway of growth. So if you're in the pathway of growth, where people are coming that are going to want that land, think about it. Every place that you're going to go today is on land, right? Including where you stay in right now and watching me. Someone had to come along and want that land and want to buy that land. Okay? Someone had to come along and do that. So, listen, I've got my guy Topics waiting on me, man. As I was going through this, let's see what he's got to say. We're on the Wisdom app and we're on here on IG Live, man. So, what's going on, my brother?
Man, you couldn't be talking about this at a more convenient time. I actually followed I found your website when I looked into your bio. I was like, okay, champ10k.com, and I'm there and I see your digital card and everything. I definitely, before I get into this, want to definitely hit you up and see if I can connect with you as well outside of this, because I definitely am looking to get into real estate, and also more so by acquiring land, because for the reasons that you literally just mentioned is exactly why I feel as though land is an area of untapped potential. Because here's a small story here. Oh, and by the way, good morning. So
Yeah, no,
I'm fired up about this topic. I love talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, let's do it. Go ahead, brother. Yeah, definitely. Good morning to you.
Morning. And so there was this farm that we used to live near, or what we lived near at the time in my neighborhood. And this farm was here for about, I would say, about a few decades, right? And they owned all of this land. And most recently, I would say about maybe five or so years ago, a real estate company decided to buy the land from the farmer that owned that land, which was definitely quite a few acres, quite a lot of acres of land.
Yeah.
and they offered him $7 million just for the land, and he declined the offer. And I think they re-offered him gave him another offer because he had tons of real estate investors and other property managers coming there and offering him these offers. And he finally settled for, I think, $9 million. It was ridiculous, and the land was worthless at the time. And that just goes to show that you never know who could come to try to acquire your land. And I feel as though that when you have things like commercial real estate, that gives land more value as well, because that for the property around it also helps them build equity as well. So your ROI is going to be ridiculous, which was
Yeah.
your third point, is that you can generate cash flow from land. It's true. It's so true. Like I should have gotten into land quite some time ago if I knew the true
You and I
potential.
both.
And you're
Yeah. You
right with saying
both.
that land doesn't have any of the issues that property consists of, because the only thing that you're worried about at the end of the day is the property, not the I'm sorry, is the land, not the property, which is great because you, like you said, you don't have to worry about the termites, the contract stipulations, commercial properties. That's all their nonsense. You're just selling the land. And I feel like with land, you can also set stipulations if you have any commercial real estate or any institutional investors, because say that you do get any form of property on there, and they want to try to arrange a contract, perhaps you could set the stipulations because it is your land. So you have the free
Right.
will in being able to set these agreements with the people willing to expand with your land, which is great. So I feel like it's basically a game of chess, but you're the one that's in charge, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. It's untapped potential, which is why I feel as though that not a lot of people know about the power of investing in land as opposed to investing in property, because yes, there's quick gains to make from property, but with land, despite the longevity and how much time it takes before you start generating ROI and revenue, it's definitely worth it because you never know. You truly never know.
Right. Right. Exactly. And the thing is you don't have. I mean, there are people that speculate on land and things like that, brother. Matt. But at the end of the day, you can create cash flow. There are people that are looking for land for usage all the time. So you don't necessarily have to wait for a big like institutional buyer. That I've had lots where I went simply next door to the people that were living next door and were like, "Hey, would you be interested in this lot? Next to your house?" And for a lot of people, a lot of times they're not going to go through all the rigmarole you may go through as an investor,
Hmm.
right, to go buy land. But if they could buy it right from you, they don't know how to track down the owner, and that's not a space that they're in. But I've actually kind of flipped land to um, people just right within the neighborhood, right? Just going next door to the neighbors. And in a few cases, man, I even had neighbors that went in together and bought a lot that was in between them. Like, hey, let's
Wow.
go in together. Um, and you say, well, why would they want it? Sometimes it's just control. Sometimes it's they may eventually want to build on it down the line. They may want to create a garden. They may want to create their own little personal park. There's a lot of reasons on what motivates people to do things, right? But
Yes.
that's really what it comes down to, man. So yeah, let's get together, brother. Connect with me, and I got to get your opinion on something that I'm working on as well that I think you can help with too. So let's connect today or tomorrow.
Most definitely. You take care, and I look forward to continued dialogue, man.
Yep, thank you, brother. Yep, I appreciate my guy there. Mac, he jumps in, man. He holds some really dope rooms. Um, in this space as well. Let me get my guy Daniel up here. But real quick, Jaquez, no, so River City Capital, we don't do investment property per se. Yeah, we will for a business owner that's buying like their location. So like if they're buying a brick and mortar location or a second location, things like that. But we typically only do business loans in that sense, not necessarily investment loans at River City. But I've got a gang of other lenders that will do property, loans, and or even for land. So let's get Daniel up real quick, and then I'm gonna close this out because I got to get to my meeting. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me.
Ron.
Daniel, what's going on, my man?
You're just living the dream, my brother. You're talking about something that we eat, sleep, drink, breathe, and make love to. Land. That's what we do, man.
I
Exactly
like that,
right.
man. I love
Hey,
that.
It's the truth, man. Hey, hello, good morning from the Florida Keys. We're just
Morning.
outside of Key Largo. Left Key West last night. But you know what, though? Hey, God bless you for holding this talk. You know, the three reasons slash the 333 reasons you should be investing in lands because do you want to make 25, 50, 100,000 a month like me? Start a land business. Just go, you know? But land's a
Yeah,
beautiful, glorious investment. Although on the flip side, it's imperative we do our due diligence before we buy 1 acre, 100 acres, 10,000 acres, or a 40,000 acre cattle ranch. Spot
fact.
on, man. Talk.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, that's those are complete facts, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And so, down there in the Keys, what are you seeing with land down there? Is it
Well, I
pretty
live in
expensive?
Newport Beach, California, my brother, and I buy and sell land across the whole country. I'm out here because I'll be attending this week coming up the Grant Cardone 10X Business Conference, and you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what? So in my head, my heart, do I go, hey Daniel, do you want to make 100K a month or $1 million a month? Next thought is a million, of course. It's all about investing in appreciating assets, land, multi-unit buildings that were invested with Mr. Grant Cardone and so on. But you know what? I'm hyped right now because you're talking my life, brother. Investing in land. My first California LLC is called Land and Terra Firma LLC. It's about just a tad under 3 years old. Second is Filing Enterprises. It's going to be real estate development as well as consulting.
Yeah. No, I definitely love that, man. And I love that you're going to the Grant Cardone 10X.
Mm-hmm.
He does a tremendous job, man. I
Mm-hmm.
know, reputationally, sometimes he can be controversial, but I think
Mm-hmm.
when you look at, kind of what he brings to the table, and if you actually have a conversation with him, which I have,
Mm-hmm.
I've had direct one-on-ones with Grant, and
Nice.
yeah, he is a wealth of knowledge,
Very
and
nice.
and he's as real as they come in terms of what you see is what you get with him.
That's
And
precisely right. And you know what? It's all
yeah,
marketing. The fact of the
yeah,
matter with Grant Cardone, whether he's controversial or not, he's been in the trenches. He knows of what he speaks, brother. I don't mind
yeah,
being a Grant Cardone because I know it's my duty, responsibility to take care of my family, take care of my finances. Grant Cardone's been in the trenches. He knows of what he speaks. You know,
facts.
that's why he's on there in your face. You like him? Great. You don't like him? Congratulations. Good. I'd rather have, two Gulf Streams. I'd rather have multi-millions up to a billion plus to serve, to dump into my charity, to help the hurting, the homeless, the lost around the globe. Bring it on. I mean, I'm bound to Luke 12:48. To whom much is given, Daniel, much is required. So
Mm,
bring it on. Share love, spread
facts.
love, man.
Yeah, no facts. Hey, Daniel, as an investor, land investor, what parts of the country do you typically look to do your investing?
Across the whole country, but we've been loving about 4 states on the on the west side. We adore New Mexico. There you go. I'm on the east side right now, brother. East
Yeah,
side. But it's all love. But yeah, we,
no
we love
doubt.
New Mexico, Arizona, California, Nevada. Love it. It still blows my mind because I'm little Danny to a lot of my friends. I'm little Danny, but little Danny's done 25, 50, 92 grand profit, 100,000 profit in a month. Who does that?
Yeah,
Somebody that keeps their eye on the throne and also
absolutely.
works hard and invests in land.
Man, I love it. I love it,
Mm,
brother. So if I came across something in those areas, would you like to take a look at it? I come across
absolutely.
stuff in that area from time to time. I'd love to shoot it to you. I'll look
That,
you up here
Yeah,
on
well,
the map.
in my
Would
bio
you
is my one of my emails to my second LLC, Filing Enterprises at Gmail. You'll see me there. Yeah, shoot me an email, brother. But it still
Yeah,
blows my mind because if I do this, I can do this. Any single person can, brother. It's crazy to buy a
facts.
$4,000 40-acre ranch property and sell it for 106 grand. It blows my head to make a
Yeah,
100 grand in 1 month. I don't say that for
right.
puffery and to blow smoke, but if I can do it, Champron, you can. Everybody can, man. Just
That's a
work.
fact. Yep, that's a fact, brother. And like I said, I'm gonna be teaching people, so I'm gonna be reaching out to you on some things
Beautiful.
to land too that I'm putting together. So
Wonderful.
look to hear
Wonderful.
from
We'll
you, brother.
talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Champron. Thanks for having
Enjoy
me
that
up.
conference too, Daniel, man.
Thank you. It's going to be off the hook. We'll tell about it. God bless you now, Champ.
Bless you, my brother. That's my brother Daniel here on the Wisdom app, man. People hit me up. I got my guy Matt. is super dope. Daniel's super dope. He's across. So if you're on the Wisdom Map or you're not on the Wisdom Map, man, you're missing out. You should be getting on ASAP. Get on the Wisdom Map. Connect with me. These dope folks that have been joining in. These are people that you need to be tapped in. You see right now, he's at the Grant Cardone 10X. He's flown across the country to do that, right? So that's not somebody that's playing or BSing around. You know what I mean? He flew from California to Florida to attend this, and he's doing deals around the country. And he told you the states he's doing deals in, right? What better way than to connect with Daniel? If you come across a really good deal, you could partner with him, and you both can make some money. That's what it's about. See, it's just networking and connecting. So now I'm going to connect with Matt. He's looking to do some stuff. I'm going to be connecting with Daniel. He's doing some stuff. And that's what it's about. So I'm going to get ready to get out of here because I've got to get over to my meeting. I'm so sorry because I've got someone in the queue here, Chad and Bethany. I apologize. But I will be coming back on later today. So I do want to connect with you all. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I have definitely got to run because I've got to get to this next meeting. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good, man. I know you're in a hurry, so I'll be quick.
Yeah.
But it was just funny because right before we tuned in, my wife and I were literally just looking out our window, wondering if we should buy the property next door to ours that's for sale.
Yes.
But then we were debating like, well, what should we, buy the one next door, or should we look at getting like more acreage and more of an open area? I don't know, like Tennessee or Georgia or South Carolina or something where we can get 30, 40, 60 acres or something like that for the value.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one, you can't go wrong with either one. I'll tell you a state that's really underrated that you should look into, Chad, is
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Okay.
Look into Arkansas just in terms of just pricing and the ability to get some large acreage at a much lower price. Definitely for you and anybody else listening, check out Arkansas. I'm in Tennessee. Tennessee is a great one as well.
Okay.
But don't sleep on Arkansas. Great location, great weather, a lot of kind of natural land there. And that's definitely a state that you could see expansion into the future, right?
Okay. Cool.
It's Arkansas. So don't sleep on. So definitely check it out if you're looking for something like that, or someplace for you and your wife in the future if you want to retire or kind of go and kind of have a getaway spot.
Yeah.
Some great places in Arkansas next to lakes and things like that are really cool.
Okay.
And
Cool.
kind of nice little getaways.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. So if we were to look at Tennessee, what side of Tennessee would you recommend I look at?
Probably middle to eastern, so get outside of Nashville and some of those areas, Chad. Get into some of the rural areas as you get towards near the mountains. They're kind of on the eastern part of the state, so outside of Chattanooga, outside of Knoxville, those areas there. You can find some really good land opportunities, inexpensive, again, near lakes and things like that, where, there are a lot of people with RVs. You could always lease it out as kind of a vacation rental type thing and do very well in between time when you're not using it, right?
Right.
And so you got so many options, man. But definitely check out more of the eastern part of Tennessee. Kind of take Nashville, divide the state in half, and then go east of Nashville and look for some deals there, man. You'll find them.
Awesome. Hey, I know you got to get going, but I appreciate you letting me
Yeah.
on real quick, and look forward to hearing another talk in the future.
Yep, sounds good, man. Let's stay in touch. I'll be following you.
Cool. Thanks, brother.
Thanks,
Take
man.
care. Bye.
Take care. Bye. All right, man. That was great. My guy Chad joining in as well, man. So listen, I'm going to get out of here. I've got to get to this meeting. But listen, Champ Ron, thank y'all so much. Connect with me, Champ 10K. And I'll see you on the next talk. And I want to be invited to your talks as well, so I can support you, vice versa. Take care.